What's your electric bill looking like these days? Have you set aside an extra 20% in your family budget to be able to cover the increases that are coming in just a couple of weeks? It is an epic round of blamestorming among Democrats in the state assembly with this memo that we've obtained from Speaker Craig Coughlin, which explains away and ultimately blames Republicans for these increases, even though it is Governor Murphy and his handpicked utility regulators that rubber-stamped these increases. Republican Assemblyman Alex Sauickie joins me now on New Jersey 101.5. Alex, thanks. Good morning. This is one of the most ridiculous policy memos I think I've seen in 33 and a half years of covering politics in New Jersey.
Good morning, and I couldn't agree with you more. And it's really one of three things that came out in the last 2 weeks that really underscores that these Democrats are scrambling. And they're scrambling because their constituents are just beyond angry at the results and the high utility bills that they're seeing. In addition to this, there was a letter from the Democrat legislators in LD3, 4, and the one in 8 requesting that the Attorney General investigate the high costs. Well, I mean, you summarized it perfectly. Their policies are the reason for these high costs.
Well, I mean, and the fact of the matter is, facts are stubborn things. And when you look at what Governor Murphy and the Democrats of the legislature have done in terms of energy policy, you can argue that maybe it is good for the environment to get rid of oil and coal, but you've done it before you have any other reliable energy sources. We were told that once the wind farms were built off the Jersey shore, that it was going to replace what we lost from nuclear and what we were losing from oil and coal, knowing full well that those farms were never going to be online in time to be able to replace what you've removed from the demand.
Yeah, and nobody has said that we're against alternative sources of energy. The policy problem, though, is execution. You can't take out 30% of supply from the state and not replace it. And to be clear, even if all the wind farms were built, it would not have replaced the energy lost between the nuclear power plant in Oyster Creek being taken offline and the prevention of natural gas being brought in from the south. To put in perspective, the Salem and Hope Creek nuclear power plants in southern New Jersey supply about 40% of all the energy in the state. The one that was taken offline, between that and the natural gas being prevented, that's about 25 to 30% reduction in supply. And as a result, we now have to buy it from out of state, from Pennsylvania and Ohio, and we have to pay a premium.
Well, and it's not lost on me with the numbers that if you're talking about removing 20 to 30% of supply, and then you look at the last 2 years, and you've had about a 20 to 30% increase in the cost of what the energy, or what the cost of the energy, and that's the increase in our bills.
Well, it's basic economics, right? You took a ton of supply out. At the same time, you had policy and legislation that increased demand on electric. You have policies that, one, for example, that is in effect this year, that requires the sale of trucks to be 10% electric.
Right.
So you have policies that are increasing demand with more EVs and more electric appliances. At the same time, your supply went way down. Basic economics tell you that you're going to pay more when that happens.
This is not the only thing that has gone up, though, Alex. I mean, you're looking at increases in auto insurance, which we're going to talk a little bit about this morning as well, which also, regulators that were hand-stamped by Governor Murphy and Democrats in the legislature. This is a party that claims to be for affordability, but the reality just doesn't seem to be that right now.
Yeah, well, you're spot on. I mean, the memo you referenced on the talking points called it an all-of-the-above plan. All of the above would include looking at other costs that could be addressed sooner than later, because to be clear, this supply problem is going to take years to fix, years. So we've got to look at other ways to address the cost for the residents of the state. All of the above would include, you've got listeners right now driving on the New Jersey Turnpike and the Parkway, lower tolls. They're taking the train on New Jersey Transit to stop raising the fees. These are all things that could be looked at, that when you look at it collectively, you could reduce the costs to the basic resident. And these residents are coming to me now saying, hey, this is probably the last straw for me. These energy costs are so high now, I probably need to move out of state.
Assemblyman Alex Sauickie, thanks for joining us here on New Jersey 101.5.